Hi, Shep Hyken here, excited for another look backstage with another all-access pass to the 50-year history of contemporary productions with Steve Shankman. Now, Steve, in 1966, the Beatles came to St. Louis and played Busch Stadium. It was another 10 years before another concert would happen in that stadium, and you're the one that made it happen.
Well, that's true. I didn't see the Beatles in '66, but I know they were there, and we were inspired by that to come back and do something in the stadium. I mean, you know, when you're in an arena, you have 18,000 people if you do the round, so the band's in the middle. But in a stadium, you have 40,000 seats. Even though you lose the ones behind the stage, you pick up all those chairs. Well, no chairs back then, but you pick up all that space on the ground. So we came up with the idea of SUPERJAM '76. And it was on I think it was a Tuesday night in June 29th. Tickets were $10. And we had a great show. We had Ted Nugent, we had Jeff Beck, we had Jan Hammer, but the headliners were Fleetwood Mac and Jefferson Starship. And, you know, everybody said you couldn't do this, but Bill Graham had done Day on the Green in Oakland, you know, in California. So we knew we could do it. But going down to meet with Civic Center redevelopment, people that were used to putting on concerts back in '66, this is 10 years later, and doing mostly ball games, baseball games, they had all kinds of requirements. You have to cover the field with plastic. You have to cover the field with plywood. You have to have tarps on top of that. I mean, it got to be very expensive and took a lot of engineering to get it done. But we did make it happen. The show did happen.
Wow, wow. And you did it for a number of other years?
Well, yeah, it was so successful, we decided to do other years. The next one would have been in 1977. That would have been on July the 9th. Again, 40,000 people paying 10 or 12 bucks to come see these shows. And they would come in the afternoon, and they would see great entertainment. That year we had Ted Nugent, Head East, REO Speedwagon, Judas Priest. I mean, just a tremendous lineup. And the shows would start, you know, like at 6 o'clock and go to midnight. So people would come at like 4 o'clock, camp out, do your thing, have some fun, eat, drink, be merry, and then we'd have this great show.
Wow.
And that was SUPERJAM 2, so that would have been in '77. Then came SUPERJAM number 3, which was August of '78, and that would have been Bob Welsh, Eddie Money, but the big act was Styx. And this was a great show. Matter of fact, one of my favorite bands of all times. And again, we get KC Radio behind it, promote the heck out of it, and just fill the place with people. You say $10, $12, not a lot of money, but to sell 40,000 people to spend that kind of money. And we're talking about July and August. These are not months where you're, it's
nice,
very
cool,
hot.
outdoor evening. No, I don't think so.
Yeah. I think the one that's most memorable to me would be Grand Slam SUPERJAM. And that would have been in 1980, June 29th. And this was a show that had Sammy Hagar and Journey. Journey was to close the show. But the radio station had made Sammy so big with Red off of his album, that wear red, be red. I actually drove him out onto the field in a red Trans Am and dropped him off at the stage. Or maybe he drove me and I drove the car back. I don't remember. But Journey had a problem with Sammy Hagar going on before them because he was a rocker. He's the Red rocker. So Journey said to us, we want to go on before Sammy. Let Sammy close the show. And he did. And Sammy became a huge act in St. Louis, coming back every year, selling out every venue, from the Fox to the Checker Dome at the time to Riverport. He's always been a mainstay, big rocker for St. Louis. But SUPERJAM was great. Now there's been a lot of concerts after that we did at Busch Stadium, and then at the new Busch Stadium, Billy Joel, the Faces to Face tour with Billy Joel and Elton John. So there's been a lot of other concerts that have come since these 4 SUPERJAMs kind of pioneered the way to doing shows in stadiums.
Wow, wow. A lot of rock and roll history in St. Louis, Missouri. Hope you enjoyed this backstage story. Come back next week for another all-star access look into the history of contemporary productions.